All right,
Yeah.
number 6.
My number 6, The Wizard of Oz. Folks, we know this is so ingrained in our pop culture. Don't have to say a whole lot about this, other than, can you think of another movie that's out there that is the general consensus for like one of the great films of all time? It and Casablanca, as far as like general consensus,
Well, amongst the public.
amongst the public.
Yeah.
And but I would say I agree with the public on that one. It's a great movie. It doesn't matter if people think it's a fantasy musical. I don't, whatever you want to call it. It's movie magic.
One of my favorite scenes of all time.
Awesome.
One of my favorite scenes of all time is when the lion runs and screaming down the hallway, and he runs forever and ever and ever, and then jumps right out the window.
Right.
That's all I'll say about the Wizard of Oz. That's like
that's
one of the greatest.
The wizard scares him.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's one of my favorite shots and scenes of all time out of any movie ever.
Really, I didn't know that. See, I learn something new every day.
I could watch just that scene like a GIF that they make for the internet. If they just made that like a GIF, I would watch it like nonstop.
Yeah,
just plays in a loop.
It has that universal quality of home. You know, it's like Pixar's so great about finding stories that are universal. That's kind of the key to their success.
Right.
And then Wizard of Oz has that, you know, home. You know,
Sure.
Everyone gets it.
All right,
for you.
Number 6, There Will Be Blood. All right. Probably I think it's the newest movie on my list. This is 2007, I think it came out. No Country for Old Men came out the same year, and I loved them both. And at the time, I liked No Country for Old Men better. And in some ways, it's still, I think, a better movie in some ways. But this is a favorite, okay? And if I did a top 15, No Country for Old Men would be on my top 15, okay? The reason why over time There Will Be Blood has resonated with me is just the character of Daniel Plainview and the performance. And the dialogue is tremendous. That last 20-minute scene in the bowling alley is just phenomenal. The dialogue, every line that comes out is just classic. You know, it's ingrained in my memory type stuff. But the character is so tragic. I love Daniel Plainview. I sympathize with him. I have empathy for him. And every time I watch it, I wish he would make different decisions, especially regarding his son. Oh, yeah. And it's so unforgivable how he treats his son, or adopted son rather. But he's sort of doomed to this spiral or whatever. Plus, I just love the primalness that it looks at a man who's got it all this money and wealth, and just delves into the primal nature. And I akin to the first 15 minutes or whatever, There Will Be Blood gets compared a lot to 2001. And really they're a lot of the same themes in a different way of a man's evolution and from primitive to modern, and how he still is primitive in a lot of ways. Of course, 2001 goes one way with it, and There Will Be Blood another. But I think they're kindred movies, thematically at least. But I just love it just because the character Daniel Plainview he sort of haunts me in some weird way. I judge characters that I write against Daniel Plainview in some way. Is it even half as good as this character? I mean, because that character is so larger than life.
The bar was set high.
Very high.
That's a great performance.
And I don't care what other Oscars Daniel Day-Lewis has won. That is, to me, his definitive role forever. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to just say one thing about that. It was such a film that was inspired and influenced by The Treasure of Sierra Madre.
Right.
That did have an impact on this film, but it's a great movie in its own right. It's in my top 30, and Daniel Day-Lewis gives one of the great performances of all time, in my opinion. Right. I'd certainly have it in my top 10 great performances of all time. That alone is reason enough to check it out.